welcome to my channel. My name is Sam from The Beauty In It Reseller, and I am a part-time reseller on eBay and Poshmark. And today I wanted to cover the death pile. I follow Death Pile Destruction on Facebook. It's a group that kind of just encourages each other to go through your death pile, get things listed, get things selling. And so I thought this was a good opportunity for me to go through some tips on how I tackle my death pile. Compared to most, mine is probably pretty small. However, this is over $1,000 worth of items, and that's just the cost of goods alone. So what that means is that if I actually sell this stuff rather than having it sit in this corner, I should be making thousands of dollars. A lot of it is clothes, and at the bottom of this I have a huge order of Lily Pulitzer new with tag items, and so I definitely want to get those up, especially moving into spring and summer. I've also got this industrial coffee maker, and I haven't been able to test it. I don't have the pot that goes with it, so it's been sitting in my death pile for months, but I think at this point I just need to test to make sure it turns on and get it listed so that I can move it out of this corner. I know for a lot of people this is a small amount of items, so if you are one of those people that has a large quantity of items and you really want to start making a dent, I have a few tips that can help you to jump that hurdle. Number one is to be organized in the way that you store your items once you have pictures and have them listed. And so this is a pretty rudimentary setup. I've just got a couple of these metal shelves with bins. I do have a smaller inventory than most because I do this part-time, but you really want to make sure that you are organized on this end of your business before really buying more stuff. The reason it's important is because a lot of times what can deter you from taking that leap and getting things listed is that you don't have anywhere to put the items once they are pictured and ready to go. And you might also have issues with being able to find items once you have them listed. So being organized once you have your items pictured is really important for so many reasons, but getting through your death pile is one of them. My second tip is to kind of group the work together. So right now, I'm not going to list any of these items. All I'm going to do is take pictures of them. I do have a mannequin in another room where I will take pictures of items that I want on the mannequin. But right now what I'm going to do is take flat lay pictures, which I do for pants and basically any kind of bottoms and items that probably won't look as good on a mannequin or just are hard to kind of see the full effect. So right now that's all I'm going to do, and that will help me to get that first step done, which is usually the step that holds me up most when listing, is taking pictures. My third tip is for clothes sellers, and that is if you have a huge death pile and you just need to get listing, do not do measurements. Unless you have an item that is really valuable, it's probably better for your time to just skip that step, and then if someone does ask, you have an organized storage where you can easily pull the item out to measure it at that point. But 9 times out of 10, you'll make a sale without needing the measurements, especially if you're selling brands that are more well-known, like mall brands or designer pieces that people have already purchased in the past. Sometimes you can even find the measurements from someone else's listing if you have an item that is the same size. So just make sure that you're matching up the same size, and this will save a lot of time when you're taking pictures and also when you're listing. You can start off with a more basic description, and then if it's not getting attention, you can always optimize and readjust your listing after it's up. You aren't going to make a sale if your listing is not up. If you put your listing up and it's not perfect, you might not make a sale, but you could still make a sale. So it's always better to get things up and going and then adjust from there. Especially for eBay, this might actually be good because you can end a listing and then sell similar, and this will relist the item and make it new again. And so you could add a little bit more to the description when you have time to do it. My fourth tip is to do with the actual packing and shipment of your item. This looks crazy. It looks worse than it actually is here. But make sure that you start collecting weirdly sized boxes. For example, I like to keep the chewy boxes that my dog's food comes in because they're long and skinny. And so this is a better box for weirdly shaped items. Sam here editing and realizing that the winnings from coming in last in my family's fantasy football league is in the background of my video. So you can enjoy that and let me know if you play fantasy football in the comments. Sellers often will neglect to list something from their death pile when they don't have the correct packing materials to ship it in. So like that's me for the case of the coffee machine, in that I don't have it tested, but also I know that it's going to be kind of a bear to ship it once it does sell, but I can't let that make it sit because that's almost $100 in net profit that I am just letting sit there. So I need to get that up and going. My last tip is just to make it more enjoyable for yourself. So for a lot of people, that's just making goals, making a reward system for yourself. So if you're able to take pictures of X amount of items or list X amount of items, you'll reward yourself to that Starbucks coffee or whatever it might be. For me, I like to reward myself when I make a certain amount of profit rather than the number of listings that I make. That way I can make sure that the item is something that is really encouraging to me and that I feel more like I deserve because I put in the work and got the items up and listed so that I could actually make the profit. Sometimes you'll see newer sellers who say, if I list 5 items, I'll get myself a new handbag, which that's fine if that's what encourages you, but if you're not making the amount of profit that you need from those items to actually justify the price of the reward, then really you're just putting yourself into a hole. So be reasonable about what you reward yourself with. Make it match the level of effort and reward that you need to get out of listing your items. So if you follow those 5 tips, I think you'll start to make a really good dent in your death pile and start to make some really good profit. So I would love it if you could leave a comment below. Let me know if you have any tips for destroying your death pile and what you do to get the motivation to start listing. And if you like this content, I would love it if you could give it a like, and if you could subscribe. I want to continue doing more content like this with tips and tricks for making your reselling job a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable. So I will catch you on the next one.